Bonjour à tous and welcome to this lesson on the French negative plus, meaning no more or no longer. Now before we move on, I do need you to make sure that you're familiar with the basics of negatives. If not, make sure you watch my video on pas first because you'll learn things in that video that we won't go through in this one. If, however, you're comfortable with that, perhaps you've already looked at jamais, maybe rien as well, then we can move on. So, as you should have seen before, the structure of negatives is all very much the same. We take our verb, put a ne before it, and a plus after it. So, for example, elle boit is she drinks. Elle ne boit plus is she doesn't drink anymore or she no longer drinks. So one very important thing to notice is that in English we have this not anymore and no longer thing going on, which both pretty much mean the same thing, and in French there is no distinction between the two. So whenever you see either of these in English, you need to recognize them both as a ne plus situation in French. Likewise, we have je fume, which is I smoke, and je ne fume plus, and I don't smoke anymore, or I no longer smoke. So that's the simple tenses. What about the compound tenses? Well, using plus with past tense is relatively rare because usually when we're saying no longer, we're kind of projecting into the future. That doesn't mean though that we can't use plus with the passé composé, the plus que parfait, and other compound tenses. It just means the meaning changes ever so slightly. So for example, you could say in English, je l'ai vue, which is I saw her. If you said je ne l'ai plus vue, where again we just have ne and plus surrounding the auxiliary, essentially that means I didn't see her again. Of course, I didn't see her anymore or I saw her no longer is maybe a little bit weird in English, so in this case it has more the meaning of again than no more or no longer. And similar to that, ils ont fait du bruit is they made some noise. Ils n'ont plus fait de bruit is they made no more noise. They didn't make noise anymore. So for example, you've made a complaint and they stopped making noise. You could say ils n'ont plus fait de bruit. Notice, as we saw in the pas video, that because we're talking about a quantity, the du of the affirmative changes to de in the negative. And there you go, that is it. As I said before, if you're happy with pas, then plus, jamais, rien, and all similar negatives should all feel very familiar to you. However, as always, if you have any questions, please do ask them. And until next time, à bientôt.